Good morning, children of God. Good morning. I put this up on the board first thing this morning, and the hysterical laughter began immediately. If you lost your temper, don't go to the trouble of finding it again. Be of good cheer. And then I say to those who totally lost it, breathe. Because you painted a picture of what you did this week, right? Just saying. Or earlier today, maybe, who knows. But one of the things that we've learned is that regardless, if we just take the time to center, we can make wonderful things happen. So I tell you what let's do. Let's stand, let's join together in the silence.
In the silence, there is a sacred place, a secret meaning place. Love is there. In the silence, where every color blends and every rainbow ends, good is there. In the light, now you find that you know peace of mind. In the silence, your path is paved, you go, and all your dreams unfold. God is there. Peace is there. Truth is there. God is there.
And in this moment, we know love is here, peace is here, truth is here, God is here. And we take a moment and acknowledge His presence. O loving Father, Mother God, thank you for your presence moving in and through us this day. In this moment, we choose to be open and receptive and responsive to your instruction and to your guidance. In this moment, we are grateful for the opportunity to come together, to worship, to sing, and to pray in the name, in the nature, and in the power of the Christ. Amen.
Amen. Today's daily word is imagination. And the reading of the daily word is going to be by Bill.
Good morning. Today's daily word for Sunday, February the 21st, is imagination. The power of imagination is the power to create change in my world. The power of imagination allows me to see beyond appearances. As I tune in to divine mind through daily prayer, I open myself to ideas. They may come in visions, dreams, or gentle whispers within. As they arise, I perceive the world and my life in their true perfection. Through the power of imagination, I envision peace and harmony among individuals and nations. I affirm prosperity and abundance in all homes and hearts. Divine mind shows me the way. I take action to manifest my dreams. I invite the universe to surprise me with possibilities. Inspired by Spirit, I am free to be creative. I make the best use of my time and resources. Let me hear what God the Lord will speak, for He will speak peace to His people, to His faithful, to those who turn to Him in their hearts. That's from Psalms 85:8. Thank you.
Back to slide one. the questions that comes up on a regular basis is, how often should I pray? And Jesus answered the question, but we sometimes forget it. And what he said is, how often do I pray for my brother is the question, and the answer was 70 to 77th, meaning forever. It's an ongoing thing. So the question then becomes, okay, how do I pray? One of the songs that we sing on a regular basis is this: our thoughts are prayers. We are always praying. So it goes with the power of the spoken word, which we're going to be talking about today. The more often I affirm who I am, the truth of who I am, and give it power in my world, the more my world responds. So I tell you what, let's do. Let's take our affirmation together. I am a child of the living God. I have within me the all-creating power of the Christ. It radiates from me and blesses all whom I contact. I am now in the presence of pure being and immersed in the Holy Spirit of life, love, and wisdom. I am now in the presence. Let us take a moment. Breathe. Join with Steve. I believe in you.
I believe in you. I believe in you. I believe in you. I believe in you. Lord, I trust 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 in you. I have faith in you. I have faith in you. I have faith in you. I have
I believe. Lord, I trust. I have faith. And having spoken these words of the truth of us, we rest. And gently and easily, effortlessly, we move to that place within us that Jesus called our inner closet, our secret place. It is that place within you where we affirm our oneness, where we know our truth of being. And as we enter in this day, we follow his instructions to close the door as you enter in. We close the door on those thoughts and feelings of what I should have done. We close the door on those thoughts and feelings of what I have yet to do this day. And for one holy moment, we rest and we listen. For in our prayers, we learn to ask. From the stillness, from the silence, answers come. Perhaps in a word, peace, harmony, abundance. Perhaps in the vibration of the music. Regardless of how it appears to you this day, know these gifts come to you wrapped in love, and that in this moment, right here, right now, all my needs are met, and I'm grateful. And I allow that gratitude to swell up. And as I do so, each and every cell of my being responds. I am energized, revitalized. I am lifted up. And from this place of light and love, I am reminded I am a channel through which good flows into my world. This day, in this moment, I open that channel wide. From me, through me, good flows. First into this place, joining with other thought of like mind, healing, blessing, illuminating each and every one of God's children. From me, through me, good flows. Into our spiritual community, wherever that might be this day. From Nevada to Colorado, to Klamath Falls, to those right here in the valley. Good flows. We allow this flow to continue from us, through us, into our physical community, touching, healing, blessing, across our state, across our country, healing, blessing, illuminating. And in this moment, I am lifted up, and I am grateful. With gratitude and with love, I keep the channel open. From me, through me, across our country, around our world. And in this oneness, this spirit of knowing, we can look at our world and know, regardless of circumstance, I am there. Good is there, and we hold that affirmation for our world. Regardless of circumstance, good is there. And in this knowing, I breathe, and I am blessed. I choose to continue to be a blessing. From me, through me, good flows across our universe. And knowing that in truth and in spirit we are never separate one from the other. Somewhere, somewhen, someone is saying thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for the gifts that have come this day from you, through you. And that gratitude swells up and returns to you. The circle of life, whole and complete. And in this knowing I breathe and I rest for one holy moment. Knowing there is more yet for me to do this day. Holding to this experience gently, easily, I bring my attention back to this now, to this when. And from my heart I join with you and pray as Jesus, our elder brother, has taught us when he said, "As for you, pray therefore in this manner." I'd like this picture for about that long. It's a good picture. It reminds you that the words you speak are important. And that's what we're going to talk about this morning. Imagination, because it's that Sunday, second Sunday in Lent. And we have worked on imagination a little bit earlier. We gave you a little bit of a picture and asked you to work on it as well. The imagination is the vision, the picture that you hold. What does this temple look like, this physical temple, when we make additions, changes to it. And hopefully the answer is yay. See, notice I didn't ask you what the picture looked like. There's like yay. Because that's what we want. We want joy in our visioning work. And we want joy in our life. So the same holds true for this body temple. Do you hold a vision for this body temple? Because our words are so powerful that they're going to show up right here. Your thoughts and your feelings begin at the process. Added to the words that you speak and the actions that you take, that depends on what the expression is going to be, those four things. So if you look at your world and you go, I'm not really happy with my expression, in other words, what's going on in my world, I get to take charge of that and run it backwards. Here's what I mean by that. What actions am I taking to bring about the expression, the vision that I want? Do I even have a vision? A lot of people say, I'm not even sure that I have a vision. I said, good, there's a great place to start. Start with a vision. See, the Old Testament tells us, a people without vision perish. So we have to have a vision. What does your world look like for you? And then you paint a picture. That's the thought and the feelings that go with it. What words then am I going to speak to that vision and bring it about? One of the things that I put on my vision board when we were doing a workshop on that was to open new ways to present information. Ways that I had probably already done and forgotten, but to bring them about again, because I want to stay fresh. And let me tell you how this works. Because I ask, you all keep me on my toes. I mean, right now. And I like that. Because you ask me great questions. Rob, you said this. Where does that show up? Because we're a Bible-based Christian religion. So I have to go hunt. Because I do not have the book memorized. Oh, darn, yeah. I can misquote this book as good as anybody. I'll let you work on that one for a minute. Okay. See if I can find the one I was looking at. Here it is. The question was, where does it say God is no respecter of persons? And I went, And so I found it in the book of Acts, in the 10th chapter, and on the 34th verse. Then Simon Peter opened his mouth and said, of a truth, I perceive that God is no respecter of persons. But among all people, he who loves him and works righteousness is accepted with him. See, there's always a caveat on the back side. It's not just God is no respecter of persons. There's more to the story. He who loves God and righteousness puts that to work rightly. What does that mean? Just holding to the truth of who we are in our works. God is with you. The truth is God is always with you no matter what. But remembering who said this. Our brother Simon, who still has some faith issues we're going to talk about here in the coming weeks. So when you have a faith issue, you just go, yeah, I'm in great company. But I also know how to come back to the truth of me. And that is, when in doubt, I go in prayer. And I come back to the truth of me and then begin to speak it and to live it. It's not just enough to look and read the word, which is huge, yay. But then it's actually to step out and live it. Which is why what I posted this morning, first thing, was so important, particularly from an Irishman. This used to be red, by the way, just saying, but I lost my temper with the color, and therefore, no, I didn't. Would have been nice, but, you know. Filter on. Okay. as I grew up, I learned how important it was not to be of ill temper. I learned how to remember what I was being taught. Agree with thine adversary quickly. That's another fun one. And the base is what? Love one another even as I have loved you, so that I can then take these things and begin to express and look at what is it that made me angry. And the expression is an awareness and an acknowledgement that what occurred is mine. I own it. My friend Dale Hoffman said it this way, and I love it so much. I may push some of your buttons, but remember one thing. I didn't install them. Who installed your buttons? Feel free to go like this, right? So when somebody pushes my button, I have to remember that I'm the one that's reacting rather than responding. So I have the opportunity when that shows up to respond and go, okay, look in alignment. This is the demonstration. I now feel hurt, angry, whatever. And that's me. I'm the only one who can feel those things. And my question instantly is, and do I want to continue to feel that way? And hopefully the answer is no. Okay, I don't want to feel those things. Then what do I need to do? Well, I need to center up and recognize that anger has within it a fear piece, fear of loss, generally, loss of one kind or another. Okay, what am I afraid to lose? And then I can go back to my teachings. Fear not, for lo, I am with you always. I can come out of fear. Now that I come out of fear, I go into love. And then I speak the words that go with it. And I love, for those of you who are familiar with the Ho'oponopono series of words, it's just so much fun. I had a challenge with it originally and then played with it a little bit. And it goes like this. I am sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Now, when you practice that, the I am sorry is what? I'm talking to whom? Meme. Talking to me. What am I sorry about? I'm sorry that I saw other than the good of you in this, or in a circumstance, the good of a circumstance. I saw something other than good, and I'm sorry about that. Please forgive me for those of you who saw it, because I was, or whatever. Thank you. See, I accept that thank you even before it shows up. Thank you. I know it's coming. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Now, having set that in pattern, I can now step into that. Let me tell you how your body works, for those of you who don't know it for sure. And maybe it's just mine, but I'll share it with you, and it goes from there. About a week ago, I got into a discussion with a loved one. The hand still works. And the statements hit my buttons hard. It's not the first time this child has done that. Children do that to you, by the way. But this child knows where this one's planted and goes, "Argh!" And I've been measuring my blood pressure every day. That night, my target is 140 over 80. That's my target. And I've been running 130, 135, 137, right in that range, taking my meds like a good little boy, because I'm not ready to heal it totally myself, so I'm paying attention to my doc. And I've been doing really well. 137 over 62, 63, 64, right? It floats a little bit depending on what I had for dinner, et cetera, et cetera. Your blood pressure is going to go up and down. That night, 154 over 82. Ooh. Right? I allowed that, but my physical body, my point is, the physical body, this body temple, responded to that anger. And it was a thank God moment. Thank God this one is 400 miles from me. right? We've all had those kind of moments, right? Just what we used to say in the military, I'll grab him right by the stack and swivel. That's this part right here. Right? Oh, I was really like this, right? And it showed up my body temple. Here's the second part of it. I know better. So I beat up on me a little bit. And the blood pressure stayed high for about 4 days. Now, not as high. Each day, it came down a little more. Until last night, again, I'm back under 130. Well, and I did a couple other things. You know, when your doctor tells you to do stuff, you probably ought to think about it. Rob, what you need is more exercise. Okay, so yesterday, in addition to starting to get this correct, went out and walked for about an hour, hour and a half, plus walking the dog. Watched the amount of food that I took in, and boom, she hit to 134 over 62, and I'm a happy camper once again. Right? But the lesson was, for me, and I share it with you, is that the words you speak are going to show up in this body temple. They're going to show up. If you speak in anger, if you speak in fear, if you speak in the language of dis-ease, it's going to show up. Breathe. And I know how to get rid of it. I just have to change my language. Just change my language. Have to run it backwards. Have to think about what thoughts, what feelings do I have about whatever. What language am I using? What actions am I taking? One of the actions I've been taking is to remember what my doc told me, that when it spikes, you need to do these things. The second thing is remember, don't let it spike. The third thing is I'm human. My brother Peter and I have a problem from time to time. And I'm okay with that, knowing that it's going to happen, knowing that I have a way to overcome it. So I get the fear out. Get the fear out. And then the language of love that comes with it. Oh, by the way, this love one another piece, I could not find it anywhere that Jesus, or anybody else for that matter, said you have to like them. Doesn't say that. Have to love them. So my point is I can look past the liking bit is what? Human. That's my human side. I'm looking at your and my behavior and saying I like, don't like, right? The rule is let that aside, go back to love. It's why we spend the time I do with reminding you to use the language that says, I love you. Bring it from here. Right? So that I get that spoken word in alignment. And then I take the actions that go with it. You know, I think I've told you this story that right around the first of the year after the holidays, I decided that I was going to lose 5 pounds and I only had 10 to go. You remember that one? Yeah. Okay. Just had to repaint the picture. But part of that is the actions that go with that. Watch my portion control is what it comes down to for me. Now, everybody's a little bit different. And I say that on purpose because I can remember going back 100 years, give or take a week in either direction, when I was like 30-ish. I worked for a guy named Jim Parker, who was the chief of police in Reno. And we had just gone to a dinner, and I ate with a skip loader. And Jim was 60 at the time. And he said, you're going to pay for that later, pal. And I went, right, chief. Yeah. He says, when you hit 40, boom. I went, okay. And when I hit 40, we went out to dinner, and I went, neener, naner. At 60, it caught up with me, so it's okay. I don't eat like with a skip loader anymore. See, things change over time as I learn to be aware of who I am and what I do, what I say, do, think, feel, applies to this body temple. Now, I'm not upset or in any way hold a regret for what has occurred. Why? I can't change it. It's there. What I can do is use the denial and affirmation process and to deny the power of the appearance over me and affirm the truth of who I am. And as I do that, I heal. Where? Right here and right now. That's the only place you can heal, is right here and right now. Now, your doctors and nurses and practitioners or health energy workers, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Help us to maintain that focus and balance that for whatever reason we aren't prepared to do on our own. Because we're learning to ask for help. Goes back to the prayer, and it took me the longest time to get this one. I'm still not 100% there, but I'm getting better. Ask, believing. The key word being ask, which means I need to open my mouth, and I need to ask. And the older I get, sometimes that's so hard. I've been so independent for so long, I'm not asking for any help at all. Look familiar to anybody's mirror? He said, raising his hand. Yeah. So I need to ask. I need to be able to look, in my case, just turned 70 not too long ago, look to the 40-year-old and say, you take that load out of the truck. I'm going to smile and drink coffee and love you. Instead of going, and then off to the chiropractor, right? Okay, just a change, but that's all it is change. The change itself has no power over me. I get to control it by the words that I speak, by the actions that I take. And I really, really watch my language. Now, I'm not always as good as I could be, he said, raising his hand. However, what I've learned to do is begin to listen. Now, this is going to sound a little strange, but let me ask it in this way, and no hands are required. How many of you listen to what it is you think you have to say? Okay. My challenge was my mouth was running about 5.5 times faster than my brain was many times. Oops. Need to get it back in control. And so the language that was showing up in my life, and I couldn't understand why. And it goes back with that word couldn't. Could not, cannot, will not. Whatever other not-nots are in there too. And I was just living my life. Didn't occur to me that this language was so important. And even when I knew it was, and I began to make changes in language, I still had other things that I hadn't yet solved. And each time something shows up, I have an opportunity to choose. Are you going to make a change today? Are you going to change your languaging today? Are you going to change your feelings today, in this moment? And when I have a challenge with that, and I do frequently, I go back to the beginning. Right to the beginning. I breathe. And to this body, temple, and to my world, I say, I love you. Together? I love you. To this body, temple, and to my world, I say, I bless you. Together? I bless you. To this body, temple, and to my world, I say, I appreciate you. Together? I appreciate you. And to each and every one of God's children, including this one, I say, I behold the Christ. Together? I behold the Christ. And in the power of that word, my world changes. And for that, I am grateful.
Thank you for listening. Please feel free to pass this message along to your friends and family. You can obtain additional audio tapes or CDs by visiting our website or by calling our office at 541-772-6902. We invite you to join us in prayer. We know that prayer works, and now you can send your prayer request to our prayer team here at Christ Unity Church by using the form on our website. The activities, programs, and services of this ministry are presented on a love offering basis. All gifts, regardless of size, are gratefully accepted. You may participate either by sending your gift to Christ Unity Church, 540 North Holly Street, Medford, Oregon, 97501, or by visiting us on the internet at www.unitymedford.org.